All right, guys, welcome to a special Manitoba Real Estate Investors Alert. I'm Bryce Kaminsky, one of the founders, presidents here at the Manitoba Real Estate Investors Association. And so we're joined here today by someone who's helped thousands of people across Canada build wealth through real estate, especially in short-term rentals, vacation property game, raising capital, flipping houses. He's been in the game for a long time. He's here. He's coming to Winnipeg this weekend with his house flipping summit with an exclusive training event. It's generating a lot of buzz. I'm sure you've seen it on the advertisements, people talking about it. Please help me welcome Ken Dunn to this special broadcast.
Hey Bryce, great to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, I feel like I already know you because I've seen the ad playing and playing and playing. So you're very serious about getting people into this thing. We'll talk a little bit more about the cost and when and where, but let's start right at the top. Like for people who don't know you or just hearing about Ken Dunn for the first time, it's probably, people who are just getting started in real estate, but give us a quick rundown. Who are you and how did you get started in the real estate business?
Yeah, for sure. So I live in Whitby, Ontario, Canada. I've been in real estate off and on for 35 years. I spent 15 years in investigative policing. I was a major crime detective and a homicide detective in Ottawa, Canada back in 2000. Found out I was going to become a dad and walked away from policing. Didn't know
Yeah.
what I was going to do, but my best friend's dad owned an insurance company and he suggested it might be a good idea for me to start my own business. I asked him for help and we came up with the idea of starting a mortgage company. So back in 2000, I started a mortgage company that I sold 4 years later for $10 million. And the most important piece of advice my mentor gave me all those years ago, he said, I'll help you to do this. I'll help you to build this business. He owned the insurance company. So he was giving me all of his clients that needed mortgages. But he said, I'll do it on one condition. And I said, what's that? He said, you're also going to let me teach you how to get into real estate investing. And you're going to let me show you how to build sustainable wealth through real estate. And what we're going to do is once you paid off all your debt, well, all the money you make in your business, you're going to put that into real estate. So I said, okay. 4 years later, I sold the mortgage company, but I had a portfolio of 36 rentals
Wow.
and have been in it ever since. We ended up moving down to Toronto after we sold the company, and I've been here in Whitby ever since. I sold that portfolio, and I've done a whole bunch of stuff in real estate over the years.
So, you've built this mortgage company, you're doing a training company. Um, Before the call, we talked a little bit of like, Ken, why are you even doing this? Like, why Winnipeg? Like, who wants to come to Winnipeg? But I think it'll make a lot of sense. Tell everyone a little bit more about the 10,000 real estate investors.
Yeah. So I decided to go full in on real estate investing myself back about 10 years ago. We started a company called Cottage Dream Vacations, and we're building a portfolio of luxury resorts right across Canada right now. We've got three that are open, we've got four under construction, and we're building in that portfolio short-term rental cottages across Canada. And I'm really excited about it. I really love cottages. I love what we're doing in the company. The more I'm into real estate, the more I'm paying attention to what's happening in the media. And about
Hmm.
4.5 years ago, just before the pandemic, Chrystia Freeland, who was then the finance minister, was on the noon news in Toronto, and she was giving $500 million to two condo developers, two major corporations. And in her report, in the announcement on scene with these big developers, she said, this is how we're helping the housing crisis. This is how we're going to build more homes. And
Yeah.
Bryce, you know this already. That's not going to help fucking nothing. Excuse my language. That's not going to help anything. Because in order to build a condo building, you have to have all the financing arranged before you put a shovel in the ground. So this had to be some other reason they were getting this money. And I thought about it and I thought, if we're going to really solve this housing crisis,
Hmm.
then you have to understand that there's only one person, there's only one type of person that builds houses. Those are real estate investors, people like
Hmm.
you and I. And so I started thinking about this and I thought, you know what? I've been teaching people how to build online courses. I owned a major digital marketing agency for years and I've been in real estate investing for 25 years. I said, shit, I'm going to teach people how to get into real estate investing. I
Yeah.
said, if we're really going to solve this housing crisis, we need thousands of new people building houses, and we need to push governments to get rid of red tape. And so I said, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to get 10,000 people into real estate investing. And I'm going to start them. Listen, if we look at most people in Canada right now, their number one biggest challenge is they need more money. So when
Yeah.
I look at all the different ways we could do real estate investing, there's only a couple ways that will put immediate cash in your pocket. Now, I don't know wholesaling like you do, but I know house flipping. I do 6 to 7 flips a year and make some anywhere between last year I made 700 grand, the year before I made $1 million flipping properties.
Hmm.
And if somebody comes into this event, I'm going to show them exactly how to do house flips and make $100,000 in a flip. My thought process is if I can get people to try this and they make 100 grand in 1 year, it'll change their lives forever. And they'll want to
Yeah.
do more and they'll want to do more. And then eventually they'll master these 4 steps. So I believe every real estate deal revolves around mastering 4 skills: finding undervalued properties, raising the capital to acquire the properties with none of your own money,
Hmm.
increasing the value of the properties through renovations and rent increases, and then exiting.
Hmm.
Exit could be selling the property or refinancing it, but that final outcome. So in Winnipeg this weekend, I'm going to teach people those 4 things. But the secret weapon, brother, is I have a list of 7,000 private lenders in Canada who trust me, and they will lend money to anybody doing house flipping as long as they're following my principles.
Hmm.
And so I can get people all the money that they need to do this at the same time. So I'm really excited about coming to share this stuff.
Well, and you really touched on a really interesting point is, well, you hit a few there, but the main one is that usually the belief around money, just that people think that it's the only source is the bank. They're like, oh, well, the bank won't finance me. Newsflash, the bank is a company making business decisions about how they're going to lend. And just the same as the Bank of Canada rate goes up and down and interest rates go up and down, that's not the only source of money, especially when you're flipping property.
So
So to
true.
have that in your pocket to say, if you're following Ken's system, Ken's guys are going to back that because you're trained and you're going through that particular system. So, what, who would you say is the perfect person to attend this event this weekend?
So we run a coaching company here in Canada. It's called the Investors Growth Syndicate. And anybody who joins any of our programs, we have the lenders list. We have 7,000 private lenders that will fund every deal. And we have systems set up internally inside of our programs where when somebody finds a deal that they want funding assistance on, they come to one of our live Zoom calls. I vet the deal and say, okay, this makes sense. This will work. I show them how to put together a lender's package for our lenders. And then we have a mortgage broker on staff that takes care of arranging all the funding. So
Hmm.
if anybody wants to do a flip, we can get them 100% of the money to do to acquire the property and all the money to renovate and even the carrying costs to make the interest payments on the money while you're doing the project. And so what we teach people is if you shouldn't do a flip unless you can see a $200,000 exit, unless you can see $200,000 in profit. Now, nobody makes $200,000 on a flip anymore. But if you can
No.
see that up front, when shit starts going wrong or things that you didn't expect come up, you're still going to walk away. Like we have thousands of students doing flips across Canada, and the average exit is anywhere between 70 grand and 100 grand.
Hmm.
So we're going to show people how to do that. But your question was, who
Who's it
should be
for?
there? Who's it
Yeah.
for? This is for anybody who wants to make more money in their lives and wants to do something to start building a legacy for their families. And it's not just for people that are new to real estate investing. If you're in real estate investing right now and you're struggling raising capital, you don't want to miss this event.
Well, and it's just, one thing you touch on with the seasoned investors is as you become more seasoned, you start looking at bigger and bigger and bigger things, and you're like, well, wouldn't it be nice if, like, right now I've got some land under contract for 27 units. When I started in the first year, I wouldn't even have touched it. The purchase price is like 875,000. So when you get further, it's like your appetite gets larger and larger.
Oh
So
yeah, for sure.
seasoned investors, well, you're raising your own capital and there's capital pools all over the place. One thing Stefan taught me when I started with him is it's not about the cost, it's access to capital. Access allows scale. I was sitting in front of a wholesale today talking to a couple of investors. He's like, well, I can only do a couple because of this, that, and the other. I'm like, you're using all of your own money. He's like, yeah, because then I don't have to answer to anyone. I'm like, yeah, but now you're only doing like two or three or four a year, and there's safety in that, sure. But if you're trying to like scale, you're trying to like build that 27 unit apartment block, you can't go alone. It's the half, the whole grape or half a watermelon. Which do you prefer? Well,
That's
I'm going to
exactly
keep the
right.
whole grape and I'm going to keep that, and no one's going to be able to take that away from me. So you're doing these right across the country. You've been
Yeah,
going
we
right
do
to
house
the
flipping
to
summits everywhere.
Vancouver. Eventually, you're going to end off in the West Coast, or you're going east from here.
Bro, it's really about where I want to be and when I want to be there. I wanted to get into Winnipeg before it got too hot.
Yeah, you're right in the spot. And it's a
It's a
little smoky
perfect
here
time
right
to be
now,
there.
but the weather is beautiful. And two things we got to cover. Where is it going to be? You said the Fairfield Hotel.
Yeah, it's at the Fairfield Hotel by the airport. I
Mm-hmm.
think I can get you the actual address here if you just give me a second. Pop it up here on the.
Yeah, we'll probably make sure to include it there. And
Yeah, it's the Fairfield Inn and Suites, Winnipeg, which is right by the airport.
hmm
And it's
okay,
all
and
day
then
Friday, it's all day Saturday, all day Sunday. It starts at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning, and it's $19.95.
you can't even buy a pizza for $19.95 anymore. Well,
But
a
this
large
information
pizza.
is life changing. And listen, I'll say so. This is something I know you've got a lot of really experienced real estate investors in your community. I own a mutual fund trust right now. We're
hmm
raising approximately $2 to $3 million a month for all of our major projects. We have a whole team
Yeah,
of fundraisers here. I started off from scratch. I have 7,000 private lenders that I've built using an online system to do that, that will lend me money for any project I'm doing. I literally sent out an email to a list and said, I need $2.5 million in a syndicated mortgage by Friday. I raised $4 million in 48 hours.
to buy one house in Toronto, right? One
Yeah.
house in the GTA, or you can buy an entire block here, two blocks. You can buy this entire
Exactly.
block of houses and all the way that way and run for mayor with
Yeah.
$4 million. So,
But I'm gonna show everybody how to do all this stuff this weekend.
well, it's exciting, flipping kind of comes and goes like the tide. Interest rates go up and down, but that's for people who don't understand the game of flipping. There's always some particular numbers you have to buy at. There's got to be a buy box for your renovation. You
Yep,
have to be doing your comparables. So understanding, you said how to buy, how to fund, how to fix, and how to sell.
that's it.
That's
Four
what we're doing.
steps.
Yeah, I mean, that's all of it. And either sell to the bank and refinance or sell to the market. Someone's going to buy it. Maybe you, maybe the marketplace. So,
But you think about any type of real estate deal. You think about that 27 unit complex you're thinking about. Step
hmm
one, find an undervalued property to do it. Step two, get all the money to acquire and do the deal. Step
hmm
three, build it, increase the value. Step
yeah,
four, exit.
yeah, or hold it.
I'm building a $29 million resort on the shores of Lake Ontario right now. We're halfway through the project. I bought the property for $2.8 million. I got an appraisal done. And it said as it is, it's worth 4 million. Just check the box. It was undervalued. Second part, I needed to raise $29 million to do the project. I
To
used my
build it.
MFT. We raised all the capital. Third part, we hired a very, very experienced construction management company called Capito Construction. They're building the project. Last
hmm
part, I've got a management team of hospitality experts that are going to run the resort. 1 year after we open, we got an appraisal done that says 1 year after we open, if we hit our financial targets, it'll be worth $60 million. And
So
I have
you
a
almost
major bank in
double the
Ontario.
input.
I have a major bank in Ontario that says when you get there, we'll give you $30 million for that, and I can pay off all the old lenders. Now I've got a business that thrives.
Yeah, you
Every freaking
get
real
rid of
estate
the
deal
hard
is those
money.
four steps.
Yeah, get rid of the expensive money and just finish. There's
Totally.
one thing that we can all agree on is when you get into this business, just finish what you start. Because if you quit, you lose.
That's
So,
exactly right.
even if you get to the end, finish what you started. And I'm going to be there in the morning to talk a little bit about the acquisitions in Winnipeg for the people there and how we're all kind of working together here to bring deals. We're finding undervalued properties every day. We're moving a deal a day these days, so there's lots of opportunity, but you got to know how. You got to reduce the fear around flipping and getting into the marketplace. It's not scary. Fear isn't real. A lack of knowledge certainly is.
Oh,
So
that's
these
so strong.
events, they're so important to go to. For $20, you could buy a book or you can spend 2 days with Ken here at the hotel and, really just immerse yourself in the idea of flipping. Maybe it's for you, maybe it's not, but you certainly won't know unless you go.
It's so true, man.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap it here because we got to get this out to the people, the alert. We got to post this thing, put it out, and we got to see you. And hopefully, you click the ticket link. We're gonna put it in the bottom here, and don't miss this event. We'll see you there.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say is if anybody pays the $20 and come and they don't find the value in the 2 days there, just come up and see me before you go and I'll flip you a 20 and we'll be good.
Yeah, no, 100%. You heard it here first. 100% money back guarantee. If you go and you don't like it, just go up to Ken and say, Ken, give me my $20 back.
Yeah, I
He'll
got you
give you the
covered.
$20. I doubt you're gonna get any of that. It's always what, $10 a day? You can't even sit in the flying squirrel jump place for $10 an hour. Where are you gonna get a value like that? So
It's so
this
true.
is for MREIA for the people that are looking to learn a little bit more about flipping. We're hosting, we're gonna be putting this out to the group so that our members are aware that there's training events coming through town so they don't miss this one.
Awesome. Appreciate your time, man. I'm excited to be in Winnipeg this weekend.
Yeah, we'll see you there. And until next time, guys, we'll catch you on the next video.